Emotional instability is a hard thing to deal with because the lenses through which we view the world, through which we're trying to understand ourselves, are the very ones that are at fault. Now, an insane person, the kind of person that I used to be, will not look at themselves as being worse than other people. An insane person will look at themselves as being the sane one, as being the one who truly understands, whereas other people do not, as being the one who comprehends the flaws of society, the flaws even of themselves and other people, whereas even trained professionals, of course, because they're part of society, do not, to an insane person. Now, does that mean that every person that believes this is insane? No. But there is a margin between a sage and a madman. Now, I like to believe that sanity is kind of a circle, not a line where we have a madman and a sage, but a circle to where we have a madman and a sage that are very close to each other. There's just this gap of reasoning, this gap of if something matters enough to let it destroy you emotionally. Now that gap is really a huge chasm, because a sage and a madman might realize that society is misguided, maybe even corrupt, maybe even literally insane because of the focus on materialism, because of the focus on things that make us feel good day to day, where in fact we're running out of resources, we're degrading in certain ways. Older people might say that we're becoming worse, stupider. I wouldn't go that far, but our ability to cope with the amount of technology that we have is a big problem, because technological advancements are increasing at a rate that we've never seen before. So a sage and a madman might realize these things, but that gap in between, that is a gap of emotion. A sage will say, okay, these things are happening, why fret about them? Let me try to help as many people as I can to realize what they need, what they don't need, and how to advance in their own lives. A madman might say, and I've met many, and I was a madman at one point. Haven't been a sage yet, but we'll see, one day. A madman will say that it is all overwhelming. How the hell can I possibly operate in this society? And it will drive their madness, because they feel a level of paranoia, emotional paranoia, that a normal person won't feel, but especially a sage won't feel. Even a madman who knows the same things as a sage will be different because of their emotional attachment to the problems of society, of the world, of how they're going to die, of the problems that they have. Maybe they believe people are watching them. It's all about emotional attachment. So this emotional attachment is like a serpent that coils upon itself, a serpent that eats its tail, and it can consume a person until madness literally destroys that person's individuality, and that person ceases to exist as a human being, but becomes more like an animal. Now, this is an extreme case, but it can happen. But it comes down to emotional reaction, emotional attachment. If you can choose how you react in this world, how you deal with everything that happens around you, if you can zone in on your method for dealing with things and change it, then you move towards stability. You move towards being a sage. If you do not find ways of dealing with all the problems in this world, all the problems in your life, and all the problems that you have within yourself, in your mind, maybe even in your spirit, then you better start moving the opposite direction, because it can be a very painful experience to feel unsynchronized with this world. Synchronizing with this world is a big thing for humans. We're still very herd-like animals, clan-like animals, pack-like animals, whatever you want to call it. We want to synchronize with those around us. But if we feel a disconnect, if we feel like we can't quite breach the chasm between ourselves and everyone else, then it can affect us psychologically, because we are emotional animals. We are emotional animals that need emotional security to one degree or another. Even having one person in your life that you can really talk to, that you can be honest with, can give you that stability. And for an average person, they would never go all the way into madness and complete instability that madness brings. But for a select few who are not stupid but intelligent, but cannot deal emotionally with the world, they are consumed with this madness. Now, for the vast majority of people, everybody really, the mad and the sane, but sanity and madness are judged in very odd ways in society, but we're not going to get into that. But we all need to work towards the level of a sage, to where you see things clearly, but you do not have the emotional attachment and the emotional need for things to be the way that you want them to be, even if your conception of things is correct. Because if you really need things to be as you want them to be, then you've already failed, because no one person can have that need satisfied. You have to accept things as they are and not as you want them to be. So it must become a want for things to be as you want them to be, but never a need, because you'll never get it. Now, this want, it can be altered. We can say, okay, I found a group of people that I believe is working towards this goal, and let me help that group of people. Whether it be a societal group, whether it be a political group, whether it be a spiritual group or a religious group, you work with that group in order to press your aims in this world. And I'm being very vague here because I'm speaking to humanity. I'm not talking to a particular group of people, the kind of people that I would align myself with. I'm talking to the vast majority of people out there. You fight in the ways that you can. You fight in the ways that circumstances allow you to. That's how you can press your concerns for humanity into actuality. But never do so by force. Do so by trying to convince and appeal to people. If you try to by force, you will destroy yourself, and that force will consume you, and most of the time nobody else. You will be pressed into madness because you wanted things to be so bad the way that you perceive them. First of all, be able to perceive without having too many filters between you and what is. Then, once you feel like you can perceive the world as it is and you want to work towards as it should be, then you start marching with a certain group and find yourself people who agree with you, who not necessarily agree with you, but to whom you have the same goals as. And I only say this because people need people. It's very important. I walk a very spiritually solitary path, and I would not recommend it for everyone because it is a very hard path to walk. To be a solitary practitioner in any tradition, in any spiritual or religious tradition, hell, any cultural tradition, is isolating, obviously, and it's even though you are completely an individual in that circumstance, as I am, it is not one that affords you very many co-conspirators in bringing about the reality that you seek. That is why few people have the mentality and the ability to completely be themselves and their own ideas, but instead conform themselves to a group that is as close as they can get to a belief system. Now, I have to be fortunate because Hinduism is almost completely aligned with the beliefs that I found to be true. I mean, I would say that it is completely aligned because there's not a whole bunch of rules, and after much searching throughout all religions and different cultures and traditions, I found that Hinduism is me, and I don't have to really conform. I want you to find a group like that. I want you to reach out to people like that, whoever they might be for you, so that you find brothers and sisters that you can be with. And if there are certain things that you have to be a solitary practitioner in, then buckle up and increase your strength, increase your focus, meditate, make yourself as a pillar. Understand that your soul is separate from your ego, and make your soul as a pillar within yourself, to where your ego has to conform to the very light and knowledge and perseverance and patience that your soul naturally has. Anyway, this has been a video about really insanity a bit, and society a bit, and trying to walk your own path in life. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope all of you have a great day.